Have you ever felt, I don't know, kind of guilty for having way too many interests? For jumping from one rabbit hole to the next, never really feeling like you've mastered any one thing? Well, today, we're going to flip that whole idea on its head. What if I told you that what you've always seen as a flaw is actually your greatest strength, and that it's perfectly designed for the world we're heading into? Okay, let's get into it. You know this exact feeling, right? It's super late. You should be sleeping, but your mind is just ping-ponging. You've got a video about black holes, an article on behavioral psychology, and maybe a tutorial for some new software you'll probably never use. And all the while, there's that little voice in the back of your head saying, okay, tomorrow I'll finally focus. I'll just stick to one thing. But of course, tomorrow never really comes. And this feeling, it creates this awful, vicious cycle. You dive into coding for a week, then you're all about writing, then suddenly it's video editing or ancient philosophy. Your phone is basically a graveyard of half-used learning apps. Nothing ever feels finished. And the worst part? You secretly blame yourself for it. You tell yourself you're scattered, unfocused, maybe even a little broken. But what if the problem isn't you at all? What if the problem is the advice we've all been fed our entire lives? So to really get why we feel this way, we've got to go back. We need to understand where this intense pressure to specialize, to become a one-trick pony, actually came from. Because spoiler alert, it is not some timeless truth about how to be successful. It's an old, dusty relic from a completely different era. No, I mean seriously. Stop and think about that for a second. Who was the person who decided that the one true path to a good life was to pick a single lane and just stay in it for like 50 years? Well, that whole idea was manufactured. It was built for a world that just doesn't exist anymore. That whole pick one thing mantra, it comes straight from the industrial age. See, when Henry Ford invented the assembly line, he didn't need creative thinkers. He needed specialists. One person to put on the wheels, another to install the doors, another to paint the car, over and over again. And our entire education system was built to churn out workers for that world. Pick a major, get a job, specialize. But those factories are closing. In the age of AI, that specialist model isn't just outdated, it's actually becoming dangerous. Okay, so if the old model is broken, what's next? What's the alternative? This is where we get to introduce a brand new mental model. Think of it as a new operating system for your brain, for your career, for your life. It is time to stop trying to cram yourself into an old, tiny box and start building what we call your M shape. So you've probably heard about being a T-shaped person, right? That means you have deep expertise in one area and then some broad kind of surface level knowledge about a bunch of other things. It's strong, for sure, like a single pillar holding something up. But it's also rigid. The M-shaped model is the upgrade. This is about having deep expertise, and I mean real, genuine depth, in 2 or maybe even 3 different areas. These are your peaks. And the magic part is the connecting thread of curiosity that links them all together. That's what lets you create breakthroughs right there at the intersections. And this right here is the M-shaped superpower. These are the people who can just grab an idea from one field and apply it to a totally different one to create something brand new. They spot patterns and connections that specialists who are just locked away in their single silos completely miss. And in a world where AI can master a single skill way faster than any human ever could, it's this ability to connect the dots that makes you absolutely irreplaceable. Let's make this real with a classic example. Steve Jobs. Yeah, he was a tech expert, obviously, but he was also deeply, deeply obsessed with calligraphy, with minimalist design, and with philosophy. And when he created the Macintosh, he didn't just build a computer. He combined all of it, the tech plus the art plus the simplicity. Think about it. If he had just been another tech specialist, Apple would have been just another boring computer company, probably long forgotten by now. And this is not some new idea, by the way. Go back 500 years. Leonardo da Vinci was an amazing painter, but he was also a brilliant engineer, an anatomist, an inventor. You can bet that people back then were telling him to just pick one thing and focus on it. Thank goodness he didn't listen. He's the ultimate proof that having multiple deep interests isn't a weakness. It's the truest source of strength and game-changing innovation. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? How do you go from feeling scattered to building an intentional M shape? Let's get practical. I'm about to give you a 4-step blueprint that you can start using today. Here's the roadmap. It's 4 parts: the obsession on it, the depth test, the proof portfolio, and the evolution engine. This is basically the process that naturally M-shaped people follow without even thinking about it. And now you're going to have the playbook. All right, step 1, the obsession audit. I want you to grab a piece of paper or just open up a note on your phone and list every single topic, every rabbit hole that you've obsessed over in the last 5 years. I mean, everything. Psychology, crypto, baking, ancient Rome, music production, whatever. The most important rule here is zero judgment. Now, look at that big list and circle the top 3 or 4 things that you find yourself coming back to again and again. Those are your potential peaks. They're the core of your M. Okay, you've got your list. Now for a moment of brutal honesty. For those core topics you circled, are you genuinely deep in them, or are you maybe just kind of floating on the surface? This is where the next step is absolutely crucial. This is step 2, the depth test. Here's a really good way to measure this. Could you talk about one of your topics for a full 30 minutes, nonstop, with zero preparation? Have you actually made something, created something with that knowledge? If the answer is no, it's time to go deeper. Read the dense books, take the advanced courses, build the hard projects. Your goal isn't to be a jack of all trades, master of none. It's to be a master of a few connected trades. Get into the top 10% in those fields. Next up, step 3, the proof portfolio. Look, being M-shaped is only a superpower if other people can actually see it. You have to make your unique combination of skills visible. So start a project that smashes 2 of your peaks together. Maybe it's a YouTube channel about the psychology of marketing, or a blog that analyzes historical investing strategies. This becomes your calling card. It's the proof that you offer unique value. And finally, step 4, the evolution engine. Your M-shape is not a statue. It's not something you build once and then you're done. It's a living, breathing thing. The world is always changing, and so should you. So welcome those new curiosities when they pop up. Make it a goal to add a new peak to your M every few years. The people who never stop growing and evolving, they're the ones who never become irrelevant. So now you have it. You have the model. You have the steps. You get why this is so important. But there still might be something holding you back. There is one final, and honestly the most crucial piece that's missing. And without this last piece, none of the other steps are going to work. Because the biggest thing standing in your way isn't a lack of knowledge or a lack of strategy. It's a lack of permission. So I'm giving it to you right here, right now. You officially have permission to be scattered. You have permission to explore a dozen different paths. You have permission to not fit neatly into some boring box that society or school, or maybe even your own family tried to build for you. You have permission to be a combination of skills that only you can be. This is why it is so important to change your internal story. You have to stop telling yourself, I lack focus or there's something wrong with me, and you have to replace it. Starting today, the new story is, I am M-shaped. I am built for the future. And my unique combination of interests, that is my greatest strength. Our time here is wrapping up, but your journey is really just beginning. You can go right back to that 2 a.m. guilt cycle, or you can make a choice right now to start building your M shape and to finally own your curiosity. The old story or the new one? It's up to you. Which story are you going to choose to live?